My name is Colin Fitzpatrick. I'm a lecturer here at the University of Limerick in the Department of Electronic and Computer Engineering. What I'm really interested in is the types of skills that engineers are going to need into the future. When I think of a young person today thinking about engineering and what they're going to need to know, you have to remember that these people are going to be working until about the year 2070. And if you think about how the world is going to change between now and 2070, it's going to be absolutely dramatic. Firstly, there's going to be at least 9 billion people on the planet. Hopefully, many more people will have been elevated out of poverty. And all of them are going to want the benefits that technology has to bring. And this is a really good thing. But if we're going to deliver on that, it's going to mean that we're going to have to solve some really dramatic challenges. Challenges like, how do we get to zero carbon energy systems? How are we going to make the best and valuable use of the critical raw materials that we have? How are we going to eliminate waste pretty much from all engineered systems? And how are we going to consider the people that are involved at all stages in the life cycle of products? These are really new and interesting challenges, and they challenge us as educators in engineering to go beyond the traditional engineering principles and force us to look beyond our microscopic view of solutions. So engineering all over the world is having to broaden its scope. So how are we going to go about this? Well, one of the big things we have to change is our approach in the classroom. Because the types of challenges that we're talking about are not just challenges that any individual person or discipline are going to be able to tackle in isolation. So one of the big areas we have to work on is interdisciplinarity. How do we get people to speak to and actually listen and understand causes and thoughts of people from different areas of expertise? How do we get people to see the world in a broader way? How do we get them to expand the scope of the systems that they're used to operating on? We have to give students an appreciation for the work they do and how it impacts on the wider world around them. And then we've got to give them the skills to know what to do once they've gained that appreciation. And a lot of that starts in the classroom and the methods that we employ in the classroom and what we ask them to do. Because to solve really big challenges, the first thing we have to do is admit that the lecturers don't have all the answers. So why would we try to dictate solutions? So what we have to do is we've got to give students the scope to be able to explore their own solutions to these problems. And I view my role then as being providing guidance and support along that way, pointing them to the right type of resources where they need to look, but ultimately they need to take ownership of these solutions. So I do this using a method called problem-based learning. So this really changes around the traditional method of teaching. So rather than dictating material, I've crafted problems, and that it's through the solution of these problems that I hope the students will acquire the types of skills that I feel are really necessary for the 21st century. So what sort of things do they have to do? They have to begin to think of, where are these materials coming from that I'm going to use? What's the plan for this product in the whole lifetime? Not just after it gets sold. How are we getting it back? How are we putting these materials back into something else? How are we thinking about the people that are involved in the mining, in the production, in the waste? You know, where do they come into it? Do engineers have to adopt an ethical viewpoint? I would argue yes. But this is very difficult for a traditional engineering mindset. This is not something that engineers are traditionally comfortable with grappling with. This is our role as educators, is to evolve the role of the engineer so that they can see their role in society and respond and step up to these challenges. So other things that they need to do, they need to learn to work in groups. They need to learn to have discussions. They need to learn to convince people. They need to learn to listen to arguments. They need to learn for their solutions to evolve. These are big challenges. These are often more challenging for engineers than the most complicated of equations or designs, but yet they're the important skills for the engineers of the future. I'm Colin Fitzpatrick, and I am for you all.